What's up, party people? I'm going to make sure. Dee, say something real quick because I may have screwed up. Can you guys hear him? Because I may have screwed up the audio for him. And if I did...
Let me know if you can hear me.
Maybe. Don't know. Maybe. Retro Maple says let's go, but that was also like 4 minutes ago. Yep.
Okay, we're good.
We're good. Welcome to Mechs on Deck. We're doing things a little differently tonight. Due to some internet connectivity issues, some network connectivity issues, we have we've run into some struggles this week. As you may know, internet's important when it comes to streaming. Internet and power.
Helpful.
Yeah. So last night it was actually very interesting, and shout out to Osiris for I know he's been trying to get this whole thing on the phone the whole time. Trying to get this going, but shout out to Langlandia as well because I've been asking him and he's like, I can do it. And then like last night his power turned off as well. I was like, oh my god. And I was like, okay, you know what, we'll go. And then he was going to tonight, but then some other life stuff came up and I was like, I bet DDD Klein will can hop in. So I PM'd him like an hour and a half ago, but here we are. So welcome to the stream. Welcome back.
I'm also surprised. Yeah, thanks.
So, guys,
glad I could help out.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, if you don't know who DDD Klein is, he is a fellow keyboard streamer, one of my faves to watch, and definitely a great streamer to throw on the background and just listen to that beautiful nonsense of keyboards, right? That's what we all do. Yeah, ASMR of keyboards.
Yeah.
I forgot to put it in the title, honestly, because I didn't want to mess up my title. I'm very proud of my title. But if you
it's a good title. I wouldn't want you to taint that perfectly phrased title with
So, but if you hit ! Guest, go check out his Twitch channel, give him a follow when he goes live. But yeah, so we got him filling in for tonight. Quick update: Saturday we're going to be streaming starting at noon until 4. We will be doing the Clack Fancy stream. So be sure to come check that out. We will be on there for a little bit doing some beginner questions and stuff like that, as well as I know the Smith and Rune guys are showing up, and Chubies is doing like an actual like this is how you type hobby about people typing.
It's like a touch.
I assume. I mean, I just.
I do love watching, especially streamers with their typing test where it's like the Alex Oto's T-Rex type and all that. It's so great.
Pinkies out. When in doubt, pinkies out. My boy Quakeums. Yep. But tonight we got a cool little topic, an idea. Once again, shout out to Lang. Lang is like, he really is like the third member because I bounce a lot of ideas off of him. And we bounce a lot of ideas off of each other for topics, or just we'll be gaming one night and something will come up. But my face when I want to tune into Clack Fancy, but it'll be like 1 to 4 a.m. Sunday time zone. I'm sorry, Retro Maple.
Oof.
Are you on?
I was going to say it's EU friendly, which is great for a lot of people, but I guess for others it's not so great.
It's not really. I assume you're Australia. That's the only. Maybe I don't know. I couldn't tell. I don't know time zones. I know Australia is like 16 hours in Singapore.
I was about to say Singapore, but I didn't want to be wrong.
There you go. So Singapore, well, thank you for tuning into our show, man. At 8 in the morning, I guess. Damn. Or 9 in the morning. Well, good morning. Quick shout out to our awesome sponsors, Dixie Mech, Switch Mod, Canon Keys, and Project Keyboard, as well as our awesome partners, Smith & Rune, Zap Cables, and Type Beast. We'll hear more from them later. What we usually do, I don't have a full screen setup for this, so my apologies to those. I have this scene set up as a backup because Osiris is usually the one he streams from his computer. So he's got all of the kind of guest streams and all the fancier stuff. I have the backup. So we're dealing with the backup, but what are you typing on today?
Today, I am typing on my Equinox. So this was going to have Bliss on it. I had Bliss on it for a while. I love Bliss. And then I had more keycap sets than I did boards. So I put Sunday Morning on here. And then I decided I don't like SA on this. This board's too small for SA, in my opinion. And so I put Bingsu on it, and I actually thought I was going to hate the way Bingsu looked on the rose gold, but I really love it. And also, I just love the way Bingsu looks. Bingsu is such a nice keycap set.
It
Uh,
works.
it does work. I've been challenging myself. There's like 78 grams slow springs in this, and for a week now, I've been like, man, my fingers hurt. And today, literally today, I had the epiphany. You know what? I should probably just not bottom out when I'm typing. It's a weird concept for
I
me,
mean, who
but
does
suddenly
that?
my fingers hurt a lot less.
Who does that?
Craziness.
Speaking of heavy springs, so on my desk, heavy board, heavy springs. This is my Crown by Blind Assassin, a TKL with 98 gram cream switches.
Ooh, Jesus.
So, I mean, when you got little sausage fingers like this, I mean, look at these guys. They're
Those are strong fingers.
meaty.
Yeah.
So 98 gram creams, extreme. They're nice and broken in now. The lube has settled, so I'm at like peak typing right now. I love this board, man. I lube the shit out of the stabs because 98 grams, right? It's gonna work.
Right.
Like,
Of course.
so bouncing on trampolines. It's bouncing on trampolines. I like that. But no, I've been, I had my groin injury recently, and I literally it hurt to lift heavy things. So I was like, maybe I'll just keep the Crown in its
Just leave it
case.
there for
Just,
now.
it doesn't need to come out anytime soon. But I got this out. My key cold doesn't have, my key cold does not have caps on it right now. Because I'm waiting for Ursa to come in. And I know it's on a boat to America. I don't know if the boat has docked yet, but I know it's on a boat heading this way. And I was like, I don't like with Zyko. Sometimes you can rip the top, housing off if the plate's a little snug, and the Keycold plate's pretty fucking snug. So I was like, I'll take these off. I'll replace any of the tops that I need to. I only had to replace one, and I put Cafe on the OSA. So
Nice.
um.
Hey, Cyrus.
Boom. So guys, Osiris, he's here. Internet's up. Just got into Windows and working on the second full new Windows install. So there you go. So thank you again for showing up. We've got an interesting topic. So how I said it so like nice and neat to you earlier, but I'm gonna. I said it in how my creative brain thinks of like what's like how do I make like a catchy tagline
Succinctly.
to sell this to this. But anyway, so basically, we've seen a huge influx of kind of beginner boards or beginner priced boards. At least a lot of these boards in 2018, we've talked about this a lot. A lot of these boards in 2018 would not be, they would outshine mid-tier boards in 2018, and these are beginner boards now. So we're kind of living in this. We're definitely in this like golden age of awesome keyboard products. And it's hard to beat some of these pricings. I mean, these awesome boards are showing up anywhere in the realm of $100 to $300, and that's crazy to me that we're still in there. But what this is doing, there's two parts to this, and we'll get into both separately. But what this is doing, we're starting to see a rise in group buy priced boards, and there's two sides to this coin, right? People have their beginner things. So if you want to spend beginner money, go get a beginner board. If you want to jump into the big leagues, you're going to have to pay some big league money. And then on top of that, we have designers who are running boards and they're going, well, my boards are flipping for 150 to 250% of what they sold for. And so these people are, this guy's making, I made this board and sold it for $400, and this guy just sold it for $1,500. Why can I not? Why should I have to sell this for $400? I could probably push it up to $600. And if people, especially if it's a round two, and you basically know it's got flipping potential, like, why not throw an extra $200 on there? Why not get your money? So those are the two aspects of why we're seeing prices grow in what is deemed a more higher end to luxury board.
I guess part of the question is it a causation? Like, are we seeing these two things happen for separate but related reasons, or is one actively causing the other to some degree? Because I like you, I'm relatively new to artisans. I didn't get into artisans really until this year, but that's kind of what happened. Was artisans were priced around 45, $50. People started flipping them for $100. Artisan makers said, you know what? If people think that these are worth that much, I can start charging that much, and they do. They do it very successfully. And to that degree, it's just moved the goalpost. You know, bongos are now $95. They sell for much, much more than that, and people are okay with it. People, for the most part, didn't get upset at the fact that those prices grew up. So I think, to the degree of what we're seeing with the smaller group buys now, like you said, the designers are saying, well, if people think that the board's worth this much, then why not? Why shouldn't I increase the price? And I think we'll see a very similar thing where people say, yeah, okay, I was willing to pay that price anyways. I don't see why I wouldn't continue.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also right. Like, the beginner board, when around the time I think you and I got into the hobby relatively around the same time, like the entry board was like you got the Lambo 60% tray mount case, and you got like a GH60 PCB.
Yep.
And that was your entry level board.
I had the God, what was it? It wasn't GX6. It wasn't the KBD6X. It was before that. Oh, what were those boards? No, because it was the Tofu hadn't come out yet. Oh man, that's gonna kill me. It was Super Swiss cheese. Osiris, if you're in chat.
Oh, the DZ60.
Yeah,
PCB?
the DZ60, and it was before Type C was even a thing, and so I remember, like, I bought that, and so the first board I had was a Tada 68 because it was like, oh, you get caps and you don't have to worry about that.
Right.
And having Osiris having to explain to me that, oh, these caps are like $100, and I was like, dude, like I can get a keyboard for 120. The fuck. And so
those were the days.
yeah, right. And then I was like, oh, okay, I can probably get out of this at about caps, switches, board, all that 300. Be like, sweet. I'm like, cool.
And I'll be happy forever.
That board's been sold. Because my first, like, this is my, whenever I got in, I was like, this is the board. It was a KBD 75 with SA Lime and box navies. By the way, I haven't said this. Sharkster Static Age Keeb Noob. Guys, thank you for the subs. Sharkster at 2 months, Static Age at 4 months, Keeb Noob at 6 months. You can't make this up. Someone sub for 8 months. Please. So, but yeah, it's, and you and I feel like we're, and I know Cyrus is kind of big on this as well, which is, kind of, I don't paying your dues. I don't really like that term because that can start to sound gatekeepy.
Yeah.
But going through the motions, going through the channels of, I got this, and then I got this, and then I got this. So I went from, I had my Tada, and then I had my KVD 75 and what was it called? A Tina. I love the Tina board. Eventually, they're going to release the Tina V2, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm getting that.
One day.
One day. And then I got a TX60, and I was like, oh, this is what we're talking about. This is a high-end quality board, and I love the TX60.
A whole other level above what I was doing, yeah.
Meanwhile, I was waiting for the M0110 this whole time. So you kind of made my way up, and then, now I've got private buy boards that are, in my opinion, better than some of these higher-end boards, and I've got, a board that I've co-designed and all that stuff. So going through that stepping process to get to these higher-end boards, but that's because we didn't have a lot of cool stuff back then.
Especially on the accessible level.
Yes, like, we just didn't. It's like,
right.
we bought our damn 5 degrees and we were happy about it. Like, I mean,
I remember the first time I saw the 5-degree case, and I was like, I need that. That looks so damn
right?
good.
And I think so. The one that on our last stream, we wanted to give away like a complete caps switch 5-degree build. I forgot what switches I think we put. I think Osiris won a T1, won a bunch of T1 switches that were like orange. I don't know. We went to like a Dallas meetup and he won all these switches, and so we were like, let's do caps. We have these old EPPT caps, and I have the 5-degree. Let's throw a PCB in there and let's build this with caps and everything and give it. And then we told people like, hey, don't enter this if you already have a nice board. We're looking to find the, I have my older brother's Corsair K70 from 10 years ago, or I want to get into the hobby, but I can't because of price. Let's go to this one. And it was a 5-degree, and I love that 5-degree. I mean, it was kind of beat up, but hey, free board, right?
Yeah, no, it is like, all things considered, it's a decent board. But then you compare it to like, even from, I think staying with KBD fans is an apt comparison, right? The KBD 67 Lite, I mean, whether you consider polycarb premium or not, whatever, it looks nice. It's gasket mounted. It comes with a bunch of foam that you can install. It's got USB-C. It's got VIA. These are all features that like didn't even exist or were very prevalent a year ago.
Yeah.
And now you can get that in a very reasonably priced package.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember in our first like 10 episodes, at some point I was like, it's kind of when gasket boards were really starting to pop off. And I was like, mark my words, KBD fans is going to have a gasket board. And also, mark my words, whenever the Alice layout started popping off, I was like, hey, I'm willing to bet that an Alice style board will be sold on KBD fans, because it's kind of like, that's how all things happen, right? You design a board, someone designs something, and then it gets popular, and then it's not like the road ends at KBD fans, but it ends at mass production, right? It becomes
That's exactly right.
It becomes normalized in mass production. And whenever the Polaris came out and it was so inexpensive, it really I thank you for the 3 gifted subs. Super appreciate it, man. Super appreciate it. But whenever you get into the mass production, the open-ended group buy, that's officially normalized, especially at that price.
When you see it on like Drop, you see it on KBD fans, that's when it's gone from this is a niche part of this niche hobby to this is something that is very prevalent and might even expand beyond just the people that are usually within the hobby.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I have, for whatever reason, I don't know why, there's like a scene within a scene within a scene.
Oh, do you have like a tunnel?
I do. I have an alert. Girl, that's randomly up. Okay, whatever. Hopefully that didn't.
I've got the stream up in my window.
Well, it's like Well, it was weird. It was like whenever a notification popped up, the notification also popped up under the Mechs on Deck logo.
Oh, weird.
And like super scrunched up. But anyway, back to what we were saying. But yeah, it becomes normalized, right? Top mount became normalized. We moved away from tray mount. I feel like tray mount, tray mount is dead. It's tray mount is dead. Long live tray mount. Like, Fiel's honestly, the Fiel and Mechanisk is keeping the tray mount alive.
There's been a couple, like the Stripe 60, I think is just now delivering, but it is very much like the exception to the rule.
So yeah, it's one of those. It's strange to watch the hobby move. I feel like in such a short time, the hobby has been multiple different things. Yeah. And what we've seen is, I've talked about this a long time ago about the hobby is starting to split with these luxury boards, right? These I can buy this board and then sell it to put a down payment on a car, like, and a good down payment on a car.
A decent car.
Yeah, for a solid, like a new car. And as Retro Maple saying, it's evolving. It's changing, and because of that, to kind of dive into we'll go over. Cheaper boards are making more expensive. Cheaper boards are making expensive boards more expensive. We'll go into that before we hit the mech market aspect of this. So when in anything, right? You have like I really like watches. I don't buy a lot of watches. I have a nice Hamilton watch that I like, which for those who know about watches, Hamilton's very mid-range. It's the TX keyboards of watches. It's around, I think it was like $600. It's a very nice watch. I love it. It's going to be the watch that I have forever. And then I've got like a nice little Orient, which I think is your KBD fans, because you're it's still mass produced, but it's a little bit nicer than like, say, something like Fossil, and not to knock Fossil watches, but those are fashion watches, right? It's kind of like gaming keyboards. There are fashion watches.
It's like the Corsair. Fossil's the Corsair.
It's the Corsair. It looks pretty, but the insides leave room to be.
Look pretty. Does Corsair look pretty?
I mean, if you like lights, if you like RGB, then
if you like RGB, then yes.
So I think, but a lot of these companies can sell their watches for an insane amount of price. Looking at you, Rolex. But you have this keyboards kind of have this ability to be in these multiple stages, right? You have these injection molded plastic cases, these really cheap kind of all aluminum cases that I really think the person that's doing some of the most good for like the lower mid, it's like upper entry level, lower mid range is Canon keys. And I'm not saying that as a sponsor. I'm saying that as the Brutal, Wrecked, and Obliterated series of boards are fantastic. Like it's crazy that true. Like, and what does it not have? It doesn't have a weight. At the end of the day,
that's the one premium feature that's really missing.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Arguably, you could say a daughter board, but like that's not meant to be a premium or aesthetic thing. That's a functional thing. That's different.
Yeah, and so like with the Brutal, he's becoming, and he's trying to keep, Lord, he's fucking trying to keep switches in stock. But I mean, Canon keys is kind of top of my head. If you happen to land on the same day as some of these switches and boards, it's kind of the one-stop shop in America. That's not a slam at Dixie or Novel Keys or Project Keyboards, but I guess Project, I'll put Project Keyboards in there but they sell like the one-off PCBs, right? But with a Brutal, you can get a Brutal, you can grab an extra PCB, you can get your switches. I actually don't know about stabilizers. I should know that because
I don't know if they. I feel like Novel Keys is also close in that respect.
Yes.
Like Novel Keys definitely has also done a lot, especially in the way of like the NK65.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Brutal 60, it's an incredible board at a price that is competitive with KBD fans, and in my opinion, better than what KBD fans offers.
Yeah. Well, that, and then you don't have to pay $15 shipping to get it there faster, or you can have it be free, but someone like runs it across the world to you in about 50 days.
They have clip-in stabs because Upas prefers clip-in stabs.
We're having Upas on soon, so be prepared for that question, Upas. What is it about being a vendor and liking clip-in stabs? Looking at you, Mike from Novel Keys.
It's an old school thing, maybe?
I guess. I don't know. But, we've always wanted these one-stop shops. And in the Brutal series, it is really, I had toyed with the idea of releasing the Baka. This was before all the Squid stuff. I had toyed with the idea of releasing the Baka without the weight, with just the engraving on the back, and leave the weight out. It'll lower the price of the board a bunch. And I still may do that just because it's like, hey, but then again, I'm like, that's something that I don't know if I personally would want to do. I think that's something that I would say, hey, X vendor, do you want to run this cheap version of the entry Squid? There's no weight. Brass plate would be an upgrade. Maybe offer like an FR4 plate to keep it just really inexpensive. Squid Junior, oh my god, I love it. Or the Squid puppy edition.
Oh.
But that's something that I think would would be just cool to offer is like, hey, we have these super fancy boards, but a lot of these boards are some brass metal away from being a lot cheaper and a lot more reasonable to make.
Right.
So a lot of
it is funny. That is one of the things that has consistently through these years been a mark of premium, is that weight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there are
absolutely.
other things, but that is one of the constants.
Yeah, weight equals premium. We've been saying that for,
Yep.
for years.
For a long time.
Why do I like this crown so much? Because when I pick it up, I have to fucking think
heavy.
It's heavy. It's 7 pounds of love. It's
Yep.
and then heavy springs. Honestly, a big reason I don't like light springs is because it feels cheaper. It legitimately just feels cheaper to me. I'm like, just, come on, give me some heavy springs.
Don't act like it isn't also because you feel like you're going to sneeze and actuate a bunch of keys.
Yes, absolutely. It's like, oh, I'm gonna I just ran out of cover playing
Right.
Warzone or something. So, but what does this do? So having the Brutal series, having these KBD fans, having exactly Gingerwald, having the Brutal, having the NK65, having is it the Kara? I think the Kara. Kate is the PCB. I guess Kara is the board. I keep mixing those two up.
Is Kate? I thought Kate was the keycap profile.
I thought Jade was the keycap. Man, I'm bad.
We should probably know these things.
Probably,
Oh,
but
well.
you know what? Someone will say it in chat.
It's not even released yet.
Someone will say it in chat, and we'll get judged for it. Kate is the profile. Then what's the PCB? The one that Wilba did, the pink one.
Oh, that's Kate
is
their
also
keycap
Wilba
profile.
PCB. Okay, so
Kate
there's two Kates.
That is confusing.
Nice and confusing all around.
So we are both right. That's
yes.
all I wanted to hear.
Exactly. So what does this do, right? So what this does is it lets vendors take boards like the Chimera, like the Bauer and Bauer 2, like the Satisfaction 75, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, like everything Smith and Rune's doing, Key Colt. It lets them kind of go, honestly, is my board worth $200, $300, $400 more? Kira is the PC injection molded keyboard. Yes, that's the inject.
Well,
that's
it's here to correct us.
Yeah. Oh, I named after. I mean, see, I know the PCB came first, so there it is. So Wilba, I got you. But some of these, you're kind of looking and you're like, well, the KBD 67 is being sold for $250, right? Is what I am making in $250 more than that, or is it even more? Well, what is the KBD 67 offering that I am not? Well, a lot of it's quality control, right? A lot of it's, I know I'm going to be going through each of these boards. And that's not to say that KBD fans isn't, but KBD fans has historically known to let a few things slide. Something yellow Polarises that turned out orange. But sorry if you were one of those people. So either way, it's your fault. So what this does is, to me, if I'm a vendor, I'm going, all right, well, maybe the next round of keyboards, if you're going to be selling something that, in my opinion, is not, it is like, if the Bauer, let's say that I don't remember exact numbers, but let's say you sell something high quality, the DD60 is sold for.
It wasn't going to be called that, but it might be now.
but now it is. So that board sells for $400, gasket mount, super weird, awesome colors. It's got engravings, daughter board, whole thing, you name it, it's got it. And you sell it for like $450. And then something comes out that's a little bit less, right? It's got the gasket mounts, but it's kind of it's there. It doesn't have the weight. It's got a PCB, but Wilba didn't design the PCB, but yours had a Wilba design PCB. Totally shilling. Although he does make amazing PCBs. But you're kind of like, well, I think personally the DDD60 is worth a lot more than it should. There should be a greater gap between that board and that board. So I'm going to increase the price. And I think that's what we're starting to kind of see is, well, like, oh, look, these first runs of these boards are being flipped for crazy prices. These other boards that honestly used to be cheaper, like the KBD 67, no one's talking about the fact that that used to be like $180 board. And it's creeping up, and it's creeping up and creeping up. And then they're flipping for like $400 on Mech Market, which is insane. But we're seeing these boards kind of creep up and slowly get more and more expensive. And I think we're now at the part where I'm starting to take notice. Other people are starting to take notice that these higher end boards are now becoming more and more expensive, as I feel like we're approaching that $500 mark that's for a non-TKL.
Yep. No, it absolutely is. And, even if you were to set aside, if you were to, I realize that's the topic for today, but if you were to ignore the entry level market, just completely ignore it. Let's say you're running a store, you just sell like the premium boards I bought in a daily last month. I know how much boards are costing these days. That board sold out even with Cannon Key's new Q raffle system. That sold out very quickly.
Yeah.
I am fully confident that we'll see the Andromeda at $750 sell out very quickly.
Yep.
And if you're just paying attention even to how quickly these things sell out, well, if people are willing to buy you out in 1 minute at the $400 price point, slide it up another 100. Will people continue to sell you out immediately at 500, 600? I mean, it's totally a vendor's right to decide the price based on demand, and there absolutely seems to be a market for it. Nobody, if you go on Reddit, you will see the comments. People will say, oh man, these boards are so expensive. But that doesn't stop them from selling out. That doesn't stop people from still being interested at that price point.
Yep.
So as long as that demand is there.
Yeah, and so we'll kind of move into the Mech Market post now, because the demand is there. The demand is there. There is a extreme shortage of keyboards right now. An extreme shortage of keyboards. Caps are coming in. Mech Market is a frugal place if you know how to play it. And so what this does, I'm not going to announce what board or who I talked to, but I spoke with someone for a long time about them running their board, and I was running mine, and we were talking about Mech Market sales and what the board was selling for on Mech Market, and doing another round of it. And we talked for quite a bit about, well, what do you price it at, right? Because you now have name power, you have staying power. People know about this board. You've gone and done the revisions. You fixed some of the mistakes. So now you're basically telling people, hey, we've done this. I've already done this. I've proven myself that I can be someone who can be trusted to run a group buy and run it successfully. I'm going to run it again. What's to stop you from raising the price more? Because I'm looking there and going, well, if they're selling them for twice the price, now I don't think it's, and I said, and he said, of course, it's like, well, twice the price is too much. That you're going to have a hard time hitting your numbers that you want to hit. But 20% increase, I don't know. Let's go back to that idea of a $400 board. Now it's being sold for, that's $520. If the board's already flipping for $900, people are going to buy it.
Right.
The people that are going to be pissed are the people that are somehow $120 short. But I feel like we're in the weird spot of like the sub 1,000 range is a strange area to be in, because I feel like if you're willing to spend $450 on a board, you're probably willing to spend $550 on a board.
It's very much like a foot in the door space, right?
Yeah.
I like that you call it the sub 1,000, because that's what it feels like. Are you interested in buying a board? Great, it's under $1,000. You still interested? Of course you are. Great, here's the price.
Yeah. And it's like, I remember when I did the my private buy. My private buy for the Baka, I didn't make a whole lot of money. I tried it because I wanted I wanted to I had to use some of that money to pay for design fees, to pay for the leg work, to pay for boxes. Boxes are expensive, and so are screws.
Yeah.
I had to use a lot of this money to pay for, a lot of these boards. And so I came out, I was like, yay, kind of like, congratulations, here's a small check. So very minimal amount of money. And I remember talking and I was like, I don't know, man, if I raise it like $15, do you think people are still going to buy it? And my buddy Rick looked me in the face and said, you're stupid if you think that at this price. I don't remember the first price of the Baka. But it was under $400. And he was like, they're already spending over $300. People, that's $15. Just do it. Just say you're going to do it, and no one's going to get mad at you because it's $15 at the grand scheme of thing. So let's open the box of being someone running a group buy. $20 times, no, even $30. Let's say you're selling a board for $450, and then you're like, let's do $480. All right, $30 to other people. That's like great. That was going to cover shipping. Now I have to cover that plus shipping. $30 times 80. That's a whole nother story. Right. You're now looking at I'm not going to do the math of 30 times 80 because I'm
2,400.
Yeah, 20.
So that's a decent chunk of change.
That's
a group buy runner.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's design fees and thank you, Brez, mathematician. My brain's fried. It's been a long day. But that's that amount just going from 450 to 480. That's protos for your next board. That's design fees for your next board. That's multiple rounds of protos for your next board. You're already making some of that money, and now you have just secured a whole lot of extra boards or money. You've secured a lot more money now for extra boards.
Right. And I think that's a disconnect. I like the way you lay that out, because I think one of the big disconnects that a lot of people that don't know as much about the process of running these group buys, of designing these boards, they think, oh, well, that's just $2,400 profit. And it totally could be. But I feel like more often than not, that is exactly what happens. It gets reinvested into your next proto, into your next design, into your next renders, into the time that it takes for you to do that. The idea of pure profit comes from the idea that there is no more cost to be made. But that's usually not the case for people that want to design more than one board, which I feel like most people do not just stop at a single design, right?
Yeah, I mean, there will be another Baka. Just it's coming eventually, 2021. So what gets me here is, on top of that, even if that is extra profit, that could be, well, cool. Now that person's out of debt. Now that person can be more into the hobby. Now that person was able to achieve something else. Now that person is able to have financial stability, which, especially nowadays, like, that's huge, right? That's now that person, maybe you buy that board, and now that person is going, hey, what board do you have? Because now I got a little extra chunk of change. Now I'm going to go put that money. Maybe I don't design another board, but maybe I go buy 2 or 3 other boards that I've been eyeballing, and now I'm helping other designers, and then those designers, maybe they're the ones that are actually designing more and more. So and that's not to say that someone could go, cool, I raised it $30 because I wanted this much extra money. I wanted to get this. I wanted to do that, or whatever. At the end of the day, I've said this before, get yourself paid, but don't get crazy.
Yeah, well, and I think it's important to not get apologetic about it, right? I'm raising the price $30. This is the new price. That's all you need to say. And people are, for the most part, going to go, cool, I'm excited for this group buy. Let me know when it's running.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the most either of you could justify spending on a single board? Is that just board?
I was about to ask the same question.
Or is this board switches keycaps? Because I've got, when it comes to like switches and keycaps and stuff, that I feel like that, to me, I always use that as separate because I don't typically go, I'm buying this board and this cap, just board. That's tough because
depends on the board.
It does.
That's the problem.
It really does.
If the board that spoke to me more than any other board that's ever came out, and they said the price is $1,200, it would hurt a lot. I'd try for it if it meant that much to me.
This sounds bad, but I'm going to look at a board. The most I have spent on a board was buying an extra for a key cold. That was the most I had ever spent, which was still sub $600. And that's just for the board.
Oh, extras. I thought you meant like secondhand.
Oh, no. Yeah, extras.
Okay.
I got in on the extras raffle. I've never spent more than that. And I will get a board that expensive if I know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Like I have to be 100%. I have typed on one of those boards. I've talked to Jorge and Ride on the Bay multiple times. I got to hold, some of these early revisions of the Keycolt #1. I saw literally the white and brass. I think it's in our YouTube video of our NorCal vlog, like our NorCal video meetup. We tried to vlog. We did a bad job. We're going to do a better job whenever we can travel. But I got to hold it, and I was like, oh, I know exactly what this looks like. I know how it feels. I know it's going to be good. I want a gasket board. Like, it was one of those things that, and then on top of that, my M0110 came back around, and it was around that time, and so I told a good friend of mine, I was like, here's the invoice. And we won't get into flipping, but for this one, I was like, I'm not going to flip this board. I won't flip to friends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a copy of my invoice, shipping and everything, and you pay me exactly that much, so I don't lose a single dollar on this, and I don't make a single dollar on this. And I was able to take 90%, take all of that, throw it into the Keycolt. So and then I think I sold some keycaps or something, and I was like, all right, cool. Like I try and get, I've bought a lot of things a while ago, and that's funded a lot of things now.
And this comes back around to what we're saying, like $600 for a Keycolt. By today's standards, that's an amazing price, and we see that reflected in the secondhand market, right? Like, people pay far more than that for boards that don't stand up to the Keycolt. Mm-hmm. The Keycolt is phenomenal, and we pay more than that for boards on the secondhand market that, the Polaris goes for $750. The Polaris is a great board. It is not a Keycolt by any stretch of the imagination.
It is not a $750 keyboard.
So yeah, I think that's kind of the crux of it that like ties back in is we'll pay what we think is justified at the end of the day. And for a Keycolt, $600, I would assume that most people in this hobby would call that justified.
Oh yeah. What's funny is if someone goes, I bought a Keycolt for $600, people will be like, fuck, dude, where?
Yeah, exactly.
How?
What's your secret?
Yeah, exactly. And like the #1 TKL, the re-release that they did, I think that was like $800, $850. That's once again justifiable price, because the other thing too is you're holding $2,000-$3,000 in value in that. So yep. if down the line, because I have said I don't like flippers, because to me a flipper is someone who buys something with the intent on immediately making a profit. I am not against buying something, using it for a while, and then getting what it's worth out of it because you no longer want it, no longer need it, or the third option being I've come under financial strain and I need to make money. I'm not against. It's like
it's the concept of someone taking a spot away from someone who genuinely wanted the board, right?
If you initially genuinely wanted the board and you got it and you just can't like it, you don't listen to people. You can't flip that. It's like, no, I don't. I genuinely don't want this, but I'm not going to just throw money on the table. If I went and put my Keycolt on Mech Market right now for $700, I would have 1,000 PMs by the time I woke up, And if I sold it to someone, they could literally buy it and then turn it and sell it for 2,500.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
and then they're laughing.
999 of those PMs would have been to do exactly that.
Yeah, it was. I'm just gonna flip it.
Right.
Or a couple of them might be like, oh, I can't believe I scored a key cult for this much, for this little money. But that's like, hey, honey, I'm going to spend $700 because this idiot is selling a keyboard for nothing.
Hey, honey, I'm going to make a quick investment where I'm going to make $2,300.
Yeah, I'm going to take us on a vacation with this. So yeah, so get your money. Like, that's what I'm saying is get your money.
Right.
Don't buy to flip, buy to use. But if you don't like it, don't be afraid to sell it at a higher price, at a justifiable price, so that you're not getting scammed by someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Because you might go in with good intentions, but will it actually amount to anything if the person you sell it to at a good price just like, great, easy profit? No, you haven't really made a difference at that point, and you're just out of money that you could have had otherwise.
Yeah, I mean that's like giving money to a friend who's then going and like gambling with it. It's like, why?
Right.
So,
except this person's probably not even your friend.
No, yeah, probably not. And I hope not. If they're a friend, then that's a different question. But then even then, right. I'm like, I don't mind selling boards that I know I'm not going to make like a huge turnaround to, but with friends, it can be difficult to be like, all right, well, I mean, how much do you want it? Because that's where you trade. That's where trades come.
Yeah.
That's where it's like, let's go value for value. So, but other than that, I do think, these people like Key Colt, people like Dixie, people like, I mean, hell, you don't even have to look to Mech Market for Dixie, right? The Bauer Vickery auction was $1,500.
Yeah.
So
all
10.
the Vickeries.
Yeah. So it was Gio, if you're still in chat, remind me, it was either 10 or 15 people that got the Vickery Bauer. And that was 10 people spending $1,500 on a keyboard that was selling for in the realm of 4 to 5. Want to say 10? Yeah, that sounds right to me because I think it was the 8008 edition Bauer. You don't even have to look for Mech Market to go for Dixie to go, I can sell this board for an extra $100 if I wanted to, because I know it's going to be a little bit more. Unique colorway is different. That is something where it's like, hey, this is specific. Fair. Unique colorways to me can add anywhere between a 25 to 50% increase. I get that.
But even if you put those aside, the Vicray as a format is becoming a lot more common. I know that ATX KB did one for the 512 extras recently, and I'm pretty sure that went for multiple times the group buy selling price. So it's not just, there was a lot of hype behind the Bauer. There was a lot of hype behind all of the Keycolt releases. 512, it's a nice board. A lot of people like it. I think it's a great looking board, but it didn't have that kind of hype behind it. Even still, people were willing to pay multiples of its value just for one non-colorway differentiating extra.
Yep.
That's huge.
Which, and I'll be honest, like, just full disclosure, I'm in this spot right now because I got extras for the Squid, and I'm like, I've got to price it. I've got to figure out how I'm going to be selling these. I've got to figure all this stuff out because I don't know. There's no right answer. I'm going to get PM of just fuck you, dude. Like, unless I, for whatever reason, sell it under group buy price, because when I announced the price, I definitely got some evil, some aggressive PMs of like, why is it priced so fucking much? I'm like, if you don't like the price, dude, buy. Like, you're not. I don't care.
You're not the target audience.
Yeah, at that point, like, I'm not gonna sell you a board worth X amount for X minus $300. Like, I'm not just gonna give you a free board or anything like that. So it's tough because as someone who, I personally am not a huge fan of Vickery because I don't have a whole lot of money. But
As a consumer, it
as
sucks.
a consumer, it sucks. But as someone who stands to potentially make a whole lot of money, we are all human, and so
Yep.
it makes it kind of go, all right, well, this is more protos, this is stuff for the stream, stuff for the channel. There's a lot of things that go into these decisions because, like we said, 10, 20, 30, 40, $50, those are all increments that are huge to the vendor that might not be as huge to the buyer.
Right.
And how much is too much, right? It's kind of
the Vic rate definitely becomes the extreme of that.
yeah. And so how much is it worth? The other thing, what worries me about Vickery is I'm like, I made a terrible board. The top bid's gonna be like $100. I'm gonna take a huge loss on this. So
that moment where it's like publicly released that people are only willing to pay like $10 for a Squid Extra.
Fuck. So
12
12 special edition Bowers. Okay, so yeah, Dixie made some cash that day. Well-deserved cash, well-earned cash. Why? What? People are like, oh, fuck him for making money. It's like, why? Why fuck him for making money? If people are willing to spend that much, you're just mad that you couldn't afford it. You're just mad that you didn't get one. Like, haters gonna hate. That's a harsh thing to say, but at the end of the day, like, I was fortunate enough to get in on an extra and a key colt. If there was a Vickery for key colt, no, I'm never getting a key colt. Like, I would literally never get a key colt if it was Vickery.
No, I love Vic Rays because I will join one and I will put whatever the group buy price plus like 20% was, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm not going to get this, and that's the price I gave, and I'm going to be okay. And that was the idea behind the Vic Ray. I don't know if you've read it, but there's an article from the guy who suggested Vic Ray to Key Colt initially about the subject, and the idea behind it is that realistically, because of the demand and the exclusivity and the format, people will bid up. We've seen it with every Vic Ray. People go in multiples over the group buy price. But at the end of the day, no one should be upset about it. The vendor gets a lot more money. The people that weren't willing to pay that much don't have to pay that more than what they were willing to pay. And the people that did win actually pay less than what they said they were going to pay. In theory, everyone wins in that situation. And I think that's one thing that is interesting about the whole, like, where do we price things? You put that in the consumer's hands. You don't have to worry about, oh, well, if I say, like, this is going to be $100 more, are people going to get mad? You say, I'm sorry you're upset about this, but it's your fellow bidders who chose that price, not me.
Yeah, like, stop. And that's, when people are like, I hate the Iron 165. I hate that it's $2,000 aftermarket. That's not Iron's. That's not Smith and Rune's fault. Smith and Rune made a board that people are willing to spend $2,000 on. Good for them. Yep. I wish I could make something that someone would be willing to spend $2,000 on, because that just shows that they did a great job. It's like I said, I don't want to appear as someone that seems not compassionate about this hobby and about people are making money, but like, it's a huge risk too. The amount of money I took in for the squid was a significant amount of money, and that's a huge risk, because if something goes horribly wrong, I'm screwed. I'm like taking out loans trying to fix this, and screwed for a long time. These are, these vendors, they are potentially business ruining. They're potentially bankrupting their company by doing some of these runs. And, you get insurance and all that stuff, but you're taking on this huge risk for people to try and expand the hobby. And we've started to expand the hobby. And what I think we should start seeing now is, with these round 2, round 3 boards, is we're now going to see the growth, right? We're going to see, hey, these boards are going to be more expensive because I know I can sell them for more. And if I can sell them for more, I can do more.
Right. Exactly. And I think this is the reason why the entry level becoming what it has makes this okay. You know, people are comfortable with the fact that the customs are now approaching the $500, $600 price tag because it doesn't mean that people are priced out of keyboards.
Mm-hmm.
You might be priced out of the Plume or the Iron 180, but there are some really, really good boards that are still selling for $200, $300. You have the entry level boards we were talking about. You have a really cool entry level market we're seeing with like stacked acrylic from people like QLavier and SM Keyboards. You have a bunch of really cool 3D printed stuff. And even in the aluminum section, you know, we still get a lot of neat boards that fulfill a lot of what people want at that price point. It's not like that market is disappearing.
Yeah.
It's just that the higher end seems to be shifting higher.
So I'm gonna answer. I got two great comments. So King Friday the 7th, reputation shot, and I'm also I'm doing the Baka and the Squid were all done outside of Mechs on Deck, internally through Mechs on Deck, right? I was able to use what I have done on Mechs on Deck to promote the board, but it's not a Mechs on Deck branded keyboard because of Cyrus and I don't think we'd ever be able to come up with a design that we would both be happy with. We'd both want to like push the other person one way towards, oh, let's make this. But also I think it would be a little goof. Like we don't see like the Top Clack, the keyboard, or like Mechs on Deck, the keyboard. Like it's just, you know, Jay made his board. I have my board. I don't, you know, Eric doesn't care. He's got a Baka. Like he was the first one that was like, yep. He was the first one to pay, I think, for his. But if this screws up, right? If I can't just take the money because this is also other people. This is Mechs on Deck, the brand. I can't. That would completely fuck over my best friend if I screwed all that up. That would ruin relationships with vendors. That would put a huge damper. So there is quite a lot up. While it could mean, you know, who knows with the money situation, that would also screw over Blind Assassin, who helped me run this group buy. But you know, I wouldn't be able to run away with the money. One, I can tell you that because the money's been spent. It's been spent, but it's been spent on keyboards that I promised people. But and I also don't know what I would do with like 80 plus keyboards that are all the exact
that's also
same.
Like, let's say you took all this money and never intended to deliver. You never placed an order. That's why it's called an exit scam, right? You're in this hobby. You know people. You have an investment in this hobby. People know you have that investment in this hobby. You lose a lot by losing that reputation. Yeah. By having to leave the hobby in that way.
And I'm probably losing a lot of my really good friends.
Right.
Too.
Also, I've thought about this before. Fuck, I've traded with a lot of people. A lot of people have my address.
Yeah, like there are plenty of people I know that have my They can come up and knock on my door and be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And like that's not like get up and move to another country money. That's like, yeah, it'd be good for a year. Sure. So Mode Obscure brings up a good one, Paradox up, because economics say, and this is true, the more you sell, the less it should be, right? Because you're getting cuts at certain numbers and all of that. We're not to me, the answer to this is we're not there yet. There are some where we are there because Squid did rip off the Baka fact. We're not there. We're not there because we're still trying to find how much what is the market value of this. Right now, the market value is a lot more than what its MSRP is, right? The MSRP is what the board sold for a group buy. The group buy cost is still trying to be found out because you can raise them. And yeah, if you're selling more, that paradox, that economics, I think has to do a lot more with maybe closer to not macro, but like macro, like small scale, like, you know, bigger companies. Like we're not dealing with huge companies. We're dealing with, you know, Dixie just moved out of his house in the last year into a warehouse. Like these are
businesses in this hobby are not close to economies of scale yet.
Yeah. So
like Drop is barely at the economies of scale stage.
Like Drop's doing it, but Drop was already well seasoned in other things before they put hyper focus on audio and keyboards. So while yes, I think that is true, more boards means it should be cheaper. What I think it is right now is more boards means more capital, means more things in the future.
Yeah.
Just straight off.
I think that's...
Rip, I love that. Just use the Iron 165 and then just put the Mechs on Deck logo instead of So.
Oof. But that'd mean a 65%.
Yeah, dude, fuck that. So, if you guys have any questions, we're not, unfortunately, we are not going to do Keyboard of the Week. I do not have that set up on this system, so my apologies to that. Miss Jenly Bean will continue to be the Keyboard of the Week winner.
I'm sure she'll be okay with that.
Yeah, yeah, she'll be all right. She'll be all right. So, guys, quick, I'll go through my my little spiel of sponsors after I try and type the word sponsors and talk at the same time. You go to switchmod.net/Mechs on Deck, 4% off your order. You get some springs, some stickers. They drop lube at midnight, and keep an eye out on the next GMK set by them. Dixie Mech, you can go to mechsondeck.dixiemech.com. I believe today is the last day for the Mecha Bag. If not, it was yesterday, but my week is blending together. But you can also check out GMK Redline, an awesome kind of car-themed set by Dixie. So go check that out, as well as Bauer 2 is going to be next week, a week from today, the 28th. So be sure to keep that. If you're trying to get in on a Bauer 2, be sure to go keep an eye out on the 28th, maybe the 27th. I'm sure we'll talk about it next Tuesday on the 27th. We'll talk about it. We'll make sure everyone knows. So Bauer 28th, do it. Project Keyboard, you can go to mechsondeck.project.link. GMK Noir is running right now, a set designed by Apiary and Neflock. Last day is today. Nice. So it goes Mecha Bags from Dixie Mech. Go check them out. But yeah, GMK Noir is a very, very fantastic set, a very classy looking set with amazing novelty. So be sure to grab one while you can. And they also just announced the Salvin caps. Did you see those?
They're so nice. I haven't bought them yet because I can't decide which one to get. I was drunk the other night and I put all three in my cart and I was ready. I was like, wait, no, let's wait till tomorrow morning.
Let's reel it back in.
But I'm pretty sure I'm actually going to get all three because they look really nice. I was thinking about how it would look on the left column of an Alice with Noir on it. I don't know if I can pass that up.
The triple, people fail to realize the triple artisan capability and how often you can use it in multiple cases of, you could put it on your TKL, you could put it on your Alice. You can, I think the Chimera, I want to say, has only 3. If you want to do that right column, the 65 and 65, the badged 65% boards, because it goes arrow and then it's like function page up, page down, or page down, page up, whatever. So yeah, be sure to check that out. Canonkeys.com/Mechs on Deck. You can get GMK Red Dragon as well as PBT Honeywell Bold. Mauve switches are up, so if you want these awesome mauve switches, I know Cyrus is a huge fan, as well as some awesome other desk mats are in stock. And are you guys ready for Spooktober? Because the Satisfaction 75. Bauer 2 price I don't think has been released, but Satisfaction 75. We have a proto. It's on the way to us. I'm very excited. The board, I think it's here Friday. It'll be built launch day. So we're going to be building it on the 31st. So I know Minterly and Andy Wynn, I think it's Andy, or maybe it's Lightning. I think it's, I forgot exactly.
I don't remember.
A couple of us are getting the Satisfaction 75 round 2. Price is going to be in the I think it's the upper 400s. It's literally the keyboard of the year winner. It's a fantastic, very cool board. So be sure to check that out.
Now it's got a cool knob that it comes with.
Yeah, dude, it's got the custom knob, 480. Yeah, that's not. I think it's 470, 480. So definitely check that out. Are we going to build it split space? Probably not. Sorry.
Can you build it split space?
I doubt it. I would have.
Please
I
tell me
seriously
no, because I'll have to get it if you can.
So then next up, we could not do this without our amazing partners. Go check out Zap Cables. He makes the best cables in the business. So, and he's also got, I think the GMK Midnight Rainbow cables are still in stock there. Type Beast, go to typebea.st for a great and fantastic newsletter. And last but not least, Smith & Rune. Smith & Rune announced the Iron 180 is coming. It is coming November 14th with some cool options. And we will be doing a little, maybe not, it'll be the first reveal stream. You'll probably see some pictures, but it'll be a reveal stream with some other cool stuff on November 7th. So put those in the calendar. But November 14th is the Iron 180. So if you want the keyboard of the year winner, and honestly, what might be the keyboard of the winner year for next year, the Mech Madness keyboard of the year, like they're both coming. They're both coming in a 2-week period. So
I was shocked
day.
when the 165 didn't win. Satisfaction deserved it, but I really thought the Iron was going to win that.
If it was a week later, the Bauer lost a week before it started getting delivered.
Yep.
If it had been a week later, I think the Bauer would have gone far.
I agree.
So yeah, guys, awesome boards coming out soon. And then next week we have Clack Fancy on Saturday, so be sure to tune in. That's 12 Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing lots of streams, lots of different people coming on our stream, so be sure to check that out. And then next week, we have a very special guest, Miss Apiary. We're going to have her on. We're going to chat about GMK Noir. We're going to chat about streaming in general, just have a good friend back on. And then, like I said, the following 2 Saturdays, it's back-to-back Satisfaction 75 and Iron 180. So the next couple weeks are
very stacked.
24th is Clack Fancy. Clack Fancy is this Saturday. Did I say that? I thought I said this Saturday.
If you didn't say this Saturday, I also didn't notice. So I'm glad people in chat are clarifying.
Yes. So this Saturday is Clack Fancy. Next week, I think I said next week, and then I said this Saturday,
yep.
which is still technically this week. So my bad.
This Saturday, 4 days from now.
Yes, in 4 days.
Three days. Shit. I
Who
can't
knows,
keep
man?
track of the days anymore. It's so hard.
When you wake up and it says Saturday, it's Saturday. As long as you're looking at the right thing. So,
exact. So yeah, EU peeps can join for Clack Fancy this time. So that's awesome.
Hell yeah. I know that was a big concern with some people, as they were like, it was like 4 a.m. I was like, we're sorry. This is the first time we're doing this. So feels bad. UFC fights are at the same time as Clack Fancy. It happens, man.
You can watch that later.
Exactly.
You know,
just stay off ESPN. You can watch it at the same time.
That's true too.
So, well, guys, thank you, Mr. DDD Klein. Thank you. What you have? What are some cool builds coming up for you? What are you doing?
I have. Let's see. I've got some personal stuff coming in. I'm very excited about. I've got a Praxis that should be here next week. Yeah, I'm very excited about that one. I have a Timo V1 that I bought, and then customer build. I have a Key Colt. I'm pretty sure it's a number 160 on the way that I'll be building. So get excited for that. I do my group buy interest check streams every week, and I'm trying to reschedule it. We had a bunch of stuff come up these past couple weeks, but I'm actually going to be interviewing the designers behind the Carbon and the Rotor soon. So that should be a big departure from my usual stuff, but I think it'll be really interesting. Hell
yeah. Well, guys, put ! guest in there. Go check out his Twitch. Follow him on Twitch. He like I said, he does a fantastic stream, and when I say this, I genuinely, you're one of my favorite. You're one of the few people I do watch, because, you know, we talked about this a few weeks ago. I don't often watch keyboard streamers as much as I'd like to, because sometimes it's kind of like I kind of have to get away for a minute, right? To appreciate things, I need to not go as hardball into them, but I still will throw up DDD Klein's stream quite a bit. He's got a lot of awesome things to say. So
I appreciate it. I'm excited. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Of course, and thank you for the late assist. You know, I was sitting there. I was like, I don't want to miss this week of streams. Like, I know we had a guest actually cancel for tonight, and whatever. It's just getting 3 people to come together and go, hey, let's do this. But it was kind of, this week just felt like a series of unfortunate events of like,
I'm
this
glad
led
that I
to
could
this.
kind of help. I'd be lying if I said I had a lot going on. So.
I love it. I love it. So, guys, who are we gonna do? Who are we gonna live? We got Andy Wynn, Mentorly, and Steph
Oh, you know what?
Keys.
I was going to suggest Steph Keys.
Steph Keys?
She's been doing great stuff, and she just started out.
Yeah, so she's new. Steph Keys, she's in our Discord a lot. I've loved talking to her. So we're going to go throw it over to Steph Keys. Make sure to give her a follow. Let's hit the raid channel button so that I know what I'm doing. Give me 1 second. Starting the raid, and what are we going to say?
Let me see what she's doing real quick.
She's lubing.
She's lubing.
Thank you guys, everyone, for showing up, and I think we're just going to go...
Never gets old. Love it.
Never gets old. Skunkish, thank you for the follow. T10 fish? T1 in fish, maybe. Let's hit them with the DDDs, and thank you guys, and we'll see you Saturday at Clack Fancy. Let's make sure that raid went through.
Yes.
I think this.
First one in there saying DDDD. I feel like a narcissist.
You decline. Oh my god.